สนับสนุนโดยหนังดี .com neverage.com ศูนย์แพทย์ทางเลือกหมอสุรพันธ์รักษาโรคเบาหวานตับความดันมะเร็งด้วยสมุนไพรสวนนงนุชการ์เด้นแอนด์รีสอร์ทพัทยาร้านชั้นขนมหวานสวัสดีครับคุณผู้ชมครับขอต้อนรับทุกท่านเข้าสู่รายการ TheMovies กับผม Henry Tran นะครับจะดูหนังให้สนุกต้องรู้ลึกรู้จริงรู้แจ้งกับผมทุกสัปดาห์นะครับทางช่อง LOCA Be Your Friends Digital TV ทุกวันเสาร์ 10 โมงเช้าถึง 11 โมงนะครับตอนนี้ขออนุญาตนำท่านเข้าสู่การเรียกน้ำย่อยกับไฮไลท์ประจำสัปดาห์กันดีกว่าครับ
This world's a treasure. It's been telling us to leave for a while now.
Your daughter's generation will be the last to survive on Earth.
To our galaxy. Here we go.
Was I locked up?
Yes.
For how long?
3 years.
There must be days when you say, I can't go through this again.
Sometimes when the truth is painful or complicated, I don't always have the strength.
Admit you killed her. It'd be such a huge scoop for me.
I got an idea.How about you guys beat the heck out of each other, and the winner gets an exclusive interview with me?
I'm getting a mental impression. Are you from the Orient? Far East?
Considering you are Wailing Sue, that's pretty damn impressive. You are a very clever little humbug.
I think you'll trick me into showing you how I deceive people.
นั่นเป็นเพียงแค่การเรียกน้ำย่อยนะครับตอนนี้ไม่รีรอแล้วครับตอนนี้เราเข้าสู่ At Hollywood เรื่องแรกกันดีกว่าเมื่อสัปดาห์ที่แล้วเราพาท่านท่องไปสู่จักรวาลอีกไกลโพ้นเลยนะครับไปกับคริสโตเฟอร์โนแลนกันหนังเรื่อง Interstellar ทะยานดาวกู้โลกซึ่งทุกคนที่ได้มีโอกาสได้ดูหนังเรื่องนี้ก็ออกมาด้วยรอยยิ้มแล้วก็บอกว่าวิธีการถ่ายทำหนังเรื่องนี้และวิธีคิดเฉพาะวิธีคิดเลยนะครับของคริสโตเฟอร์โนแลนนั้นล้ำจริงๆนะครับและคนคนนี้ไม่เคยทำให้ใครผิดหวังวันนี้หลายคนจึงเรียกร้องว่าถ้าเรามีบทสัมภาษณ์ของดาราหรือทีมงานมาฝากจากหนังเรื่อง Interstellar ทะยานดาวกู้โลกขอดูหน่อยครับยินดีจัดให้ครับเชิญชมกันได้แล้วครับช่วง At Hollywood
Space travel has always been that ultimate challenge. And I think we have a generation who's absorbed the idea of technological processes entirely earthbound.And to do with making our everyday lives more easy or whatever, as opposed to the specialness and the extraordinary nature of a few select individuals pushing the boundaries of where the human race, the human species has ever been.
What's the new frontier? Space. As my dad would say, yeah, the new frontier is not necessarily the Army and the Navy, it's the Air Force. It's out there.Humans
in space and our future in space, I think, are important to us as a human race. In some sense, it's cultural. In some sense, it's built into our DNA to explore, to expand, to conquer the universe.
Right from the beginning, we've been explorers and adventurers, and humankind's impetus to break boundaries and look beyond where they sit right now.That's a very exciting thing that distinguishes us.
I'm hopeful that Interstellar will tap into people's rekindling interest in those kind of things.
Here we go.
We're building very, very realistic sets that can be completely 360 and contained. It can really put the audience into the shoes of the astronauts who are exploring these new worlds, new galaxies.The
sets that we shot on back in Los Angeles were pretty incredible. We actually built pretty much everything for real.
We have them on big gimbals so they can go vertically, so we can go 0G. Everything was on hydraulics, everything had movement.
You can't tell that this was made for a movie. You want it to look like it was made for real.
We wanted to try and create a much more real environment for the actors inside the spaceships rather than relying on green screens. We didn't use any green screens.
We were very interested in the way that perhaps visual effects had been created in the past before computers came along. Combining that with the power of modern digital technologies, the idea of creating space environments live on the stage. If you could create imagery which you could show on the set, actually make it part of the set, it gave it an instant reality.
Well, if there was ever a movie to use IMAX on, let's face it, go to space, use IMAX.
The camera department had to take a very experimental approach to the way we wanted to shoot the film with the IMAX cameras. We wanted to do a lot of handheld camera. We wanted to do a lot of camera mounts. Mounts on the exteriors of ships, really treating an IMAX camera like a GoPro camera.
We actually mounted on helmets, we mounted on spacesuits, we mounted on bodies. Think about the fact that NASA sent IMAX cameras up to space and they can film with that camera in very small spaces. By doing that, you create a very specific feeling, and we want to replicate that.
We're dealing with planets, space, black holes, and then we have the sort of more regular sets like the farmhouse.
The set of where the farm has been built is just magnificently beautiful, very dramatic, very pretty.
We want an interior-exterior build. We need to grow 500 acres of corn. With Chris Films, he likes to be out there. He likes to be with the reality of a place.
He loves to work from reality. When we turn around and say, oh, a dust storm, you figured you were going to just look at an empty landscape and they'd put it in later for us, so we would have to pretend. No.
Chris wants to always do as much as you can practical. I mean, if you can achieve it in camera, that's always the goal.
If you're shooting someplace that's cold, I find it helpful to feel the cold. If you're slogging through water that comes up to your mid-thigh, it's great not to be told that the water's going to be added later.
How would you recreate the biggest glacier in Europe in a studio? You wouldn't.
He takes us to these exotic locations and creates a planetary atmosphere. He's filling the screen with a real image that feels real because it is real.
The mandate from the beginning, when I was brought onto the project, was to try to get the science right, but still get to a place where you had this massive, epic experience.
The initial impetus for the project had been to say, why not examine real possibilities? Where are we now? Where has the world got to in terms of its thinking about gravity being able to traverse dimensions, gravitational lensing, the effects of gravity on light around the black hole? Why not actually look at the real science there?
Luckily, we had Kip, and Kip is the foremost authority on all things gravitational.
Kip Thorne is a brilliant scientist, one of the world's foremost authorities on space-time, black holes, wormholes, and he's written extensively on these things.
The thing that makes this different from almost any other movie that's been made is that real science was woven into this film and into the story from the beginning, and woven in deeply.
The visual effects department under Paul Franklin and everybody at Double Negative, they took Kip's data and they created real visual representations.
What the algorithms gave us was extremely spectacular.
We found that there was an enormous amount of beauty within these things if you actually just went to the straight physics, to the science, to the mathematics.
Neither wormholes nor black holes have been depicted in any Hollywood movie in the way that they actually would appear. This is the first time that the depiction began with Einstein's general relativity equations from the outset.
You have no idea when you're coming back.
I'm coming back.
Matthew McConaughey seeming so perfect for the part. He is so much the sort of laconic, almost cowboy, pilot-type presence, the sort of Chuck Yeager idea that we're really trying to get to from the right stuff.
Cooper, he's a man out of time. He's not supposed to be a farmer. He's not supposed to be grounded. He's supposed to be up there.
Love is the one thing that transcends time and space.
I thought about what it would be like to have to leave everyone you love behind, what it would be like to have to live a life where you live cut off, always telling yourself that you're doing it for the greater good. I was very moved by that.
I liked the idea of exploring a woman in need of a connection. My favorite part of any process is the feeling of an ensemble, is a collaboration, is working with the actors and creating something. I find that really fulfilling.
There's such a great ensemble feel to this cast.
I came in late enough that when I met with Chris, he had the headshots on the wall of who was there, and I got to see that, you know, it was McConaughey and Anne, and Lithgow was on there, Michael Caine. Incredibly impressive wall of actors doing a lot of different size roles.
It's all in the casting. I mean, Chris knew what he was doing when he put these people together.
This is the mission you were trained for.
I've got kids, Professor.
Get out there and save them.
จากเรื่องแรกนะครับมาสู่ At Hollywood เรื่องที่2นะครับใครคิดถึงนิโคล คิดแมนจะกลับมาแล้วกับหนังที่มีชื่อว่า Before I Go to Sleep Before I Go to Sleep เป็นบทประพันธ์ของหนังสือขายดีที่มีแปลมากกว่า30ภาษาทั่วโลกนะครับและเป็นหนังสือ Best Seller ที่ติดอันดับของ New York Times ด้วยนะครับหนังเรื่อง Before I Go to Sleep เป็นเรื่องราวของผู้หญิงคนหนึ่งชื่อคริสตินซึ่งรับบทโดยนิโคล คิดแมนเธอเองประสบอุบัติเหตุและอยู่ในอาการโคม่าพอเธอตื่นขึ้นมาเธอจะมีความทรงจำซึ่งจุได้เพียงแค่1วันพอเธอหลับไปเริ่มต้นชีวิตใหม่เธอจะรีเซ็ตทุกอย่างใหม่เธอก็พยายามที่จะประติดประต่อทุกอย่างในชีวิตของเธอพยายามจะมองว่าผู้ชาย2คนนั้นเกี่ยวข้องกับเธอเช่นไรคนหนึ่งคือสามีของเธอซึ่งรับบทโดยคอลิน เฟิร์ธอีกคนหนึ่งคือผู้ชายที่รับบทโดยมาร์ค สตรองทั้งหมดนี้คน3คนโคจรมาพบกันในภาพยนตร์สุดท้าทายอีกครั้งสำหรับนิโคล คิดแมนกับ Before I Go to Sleep เชิญชมตัวอย่างกันได้แล้วครับช่วง At Hollywood
Who are you?
I'm your husband, Ben. We got married 14 years ago. You had an accident. And you have problems remembering things.
What things?
Everything.
Christine, it's Dr. Nash, which will mean nothing to you, but don't worry. We've been doing some work on your memory.
Admittedly, this isn't a run-of-the-mill doctor-patient relationship. Seeing you without your husband's knowledge. I want you to keep a visual diary to hold on to your memories.
My name is Christine Lucas. As I sleep, my mind will erase everything that I know, everything that I did. Was I locked up?
Yes.
For how long?
3 years.
There must be days when you say, I can't go through this again.
Sometimes when the truth is painful or complicated, I don't always have the strength.
She was naked. There was blood.
Who did this to me?
No one knows. No one but you.
Things are starting to come back.
You having an affair?
He says he's protecting you, but don't trust him.
This isn't just about you.
I want you to feel good about yourself.
พักชมโฆษณาสักครู่นะครับเดี๋ยวเรากลับมาพบกับ At Hollywood อีก2เรื่องที่พลาดไม่ได้เช่นกันสักครู่เดียวครับ
At the movies